One of the most important characteristics of the Amazon is the fact that we have a large number of very isolated communities. And on one extreme, we have non-contacted indigenous groups. In the state of Amazonas alone, there are some 20 indigenous groups that have not been contacted or that have not had regular contact with the outside world. This is amazing, because we're in the era of connectivity, and these people have not had any contact with outsiders. This is on one extreme. And we have, in the case of small villages along rivers, some villages which are very isolated. Just to give you an example, and you can see in this map, going from Manaus to Carauari in the Juruá River, it takes about 7 days by boat. From Carauari to the first community where Amazonas Foundation works, FAS, it takes 11 hours. And it follows these large number of hours until the last community where we work, and this is a protected area called RDS Huacari, Sustainable Development Reserve Huacari. It takes 50 hours. After you reach Carauari, 7 days by boat. So these communities are extremely isolated. For the most part, they have no electricity. For the most part, they have no access to cell phones. And this isolation of communities is a characteristic of what I call the deep Amazon. And remember that before we have spoken about how heterogeneous the reality of the Amazon is. So this is not the whole Amazon. This is just a part of the Amazon. There are some parts of the Amazon which are serviced by roads, some of them good roads. Some parts of the Amazon have highly advanced agricultural economies, such as in the north of Mato Grosso, which is the southern state next to the state of Amazonas. And we have areas around Belém, for example, which are very, very industrialized and occupied. And so it's very heterogeneous. But I'd like to focus now your attention on these isolated communities, which comprise probably something about half of the territory of the Amazon. Then one can say that the other half is divided in two, what Berta Becker used to call the fronteira agrícola, the agricultural frontier, and the consolidated agricultural areas. So the other half is sort of divided in two in these categories. So I'd like to focus on the deep Amazon, on this half of the Amazon, which is very isolated and dominated or occupied by either indigenous peoples or traditional populations.